We are the Hebrew Israelites. First and foremost, I want to say Kal Halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai.
Kal Halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai.
Double honors to the apostles, the elders, the GMS who rule well.
Double honors to the apostles, the GMS who rule well.
And Barakatham to all you Akim that's out there that's pushing this truth and the sincerity and the strength of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. You know, and we out here for the elect of the 12 tribes of Israel. Judah, the so-called Negroes. Benjamin, the so-called West Indian Jamaicans. Levi, the so-called Haitians. Gad, the so-called North American Indians. Reuben, the so-called Seminole Indians. Zebulon, Guatemala to Panama. Manasseh, the so-called Cubans. Simeon, the so-called Dominicans. Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Ricans. We have Asher, Colombia to Uruguay. Naphtali, Argentina to Chile. These are the 12 tribes of Israel who Yahweh Shai is coming to redeem. 1/3 the elect. You know, 2/3 is set up for the destruction, man. You know. A lot going on, man. So, you know, said we out here to prophesy, man. You know, the Lord is entrusted, you know, in us, man, to speak the words of His, you know, Spirit. Bring it out, man, that we may wake up the elect, man, and, you know, condemn the unjust, man, and the ungodly, man. So, get right into it.
Part of 2nd Ezra, 6th chapter.
2nd Ezra,
yeah, 6th chapter.
2nd Ezra 6:1. And it says, and he said unto me, in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or ever the winds blew, before it thundered or lightning, or ever the foundations of paradise were laid.
Paradise is talking about the earth, which is Eden. Okay? And before anything was laid, let's find out what he was talking about. Go ahead.
It says, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitudes of angels were gathered together, or ever the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measurements of the firmament were named, or ever the chimneys of Zion were hot.
Zion is another name for Israel, which means monument or memorial. Go ahead.
And it says, in ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they were sealed, that have gathered faith for a treasure.
Right, because faith is a treasure. And that treasure is not given to everybody. That treasure only given to the nation of Israel, which consists of the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, and the elect out of them.
Go ahead. And it says, verse 6, then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. But me also they shall be ended, and by none other.
Yeah. Because Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is the one that's going to end Esau's kingdom, his rulership. He's the one that's going to end it. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Alright?
Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times?
Parting asunder. Look up that word asunder. The parting asunder, meaning how is it going to take place? What direction? You know, we're going to look up that word asunder anyway. Just for edification, for you brothers to know what that means. You know?
Sunder.
Etymology.
Okay, that word asunder means to distinguish, to tell apart. I'm gonna look up in the dictionary reference.
That's all they got? Distinguish and tell apart?
Yeah.
Well, it's basically dealing with direction.
Into separated parts, in or into pieces, a part of widely separated.
Yeah, so it basically, read that again.
It says, into separate parts, in or into pieces, apart or widely separated.
So it's basically saying basically in a nutshell, it's saying which directions. You're dealing with directions. When you separate something, you put it in different directions. So that's what asunder means. So that's what Esdras is trying to find out. What direction is it gonna go? How is it gonna take place before the nation of Israel come into power? Go ahead.
God. And he says, or when shall the end be? Or the first and the beginning of it that followed?
All right, when shall the end be? The end of what? Or the first one? In the beginning of him that followed. Because Esau was the first one. When you read Genesis, the 25th chapter. And then Jacob came after that. And then when you read about in Genesis 25th chapter, when they said there was a struggle in the womb, when you look up that word struggle, it means oppress. So what Esau was trying to do is oppress Jacob while he was in the womb. So it was already basically a war going on already. And Esau was already trying to oppress him in the womb, before they even came out. Go ahead.
It says, verse 8.
Defraud him or hold him back. In other words, go ahead.
Verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau.
So spiritually, through the power of Yahweh Shai, starting with Yahweh, Jacob is going to pull down Esau. So that's what that him holding his heel. So that's what that's symbolic of. Us pulling Esau down. The spirit and power of Yahweh Shai was started with Yahweh Shai.
Right. Verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world.
For Esau is the end of the world. That's why you got all these events magnifying on the earth. That's why you got earthquakes. That's why you got fish dying. That's why you able to search the internet and find out how Esau is creating all these GMO food and fucking up the food. You see? That's why you able to get a little bit more insight on what this devil is putting in his food and how he's creating genetically modified organisms. You see? With the animals and shooting them up with steroids. So Esau is the end of the world. And that's why you see so much corruption going on in the earth, and the earth is being destroyed with chemtrails. You see? Operation Cloverleaf. I think that's what you can YouTube. I think it's Operation Cloverleaf. You can YouTube that about the chemtrails. You see? You got bestiality going on. You got homosexuality going on. You got people with all type of diseases that's going on. Everybody's sick. You see? So Esau is the end of the world. And that's what you see, man. As days carry on, more people are dying, more people are getting sicker, and more people are the one that's in the know are getting away from certain foods and not eating that shit because it ain't no good for you. Creating fruit with no seeds. They ain't doing nothing but cloning fruit. You see? So that's what's going on. Esau is the end of the world. And we up on it right now, man. We up on it, man. The time is at hand. Go ahead.
God. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
So that's why you see all these camps popping up. You see? It's a change of power. That's why Esau is being revealed for all the wickedness and the corruption and the confused state he is governing the earth. This is pure madness. And the only people that's complaining about it through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai is the men that you see on the highways and the byways and the one that's walking in narrow paths. Because everybody else trying to get money or trying to chase these women or trying to get a new car or trying to get a new house or trying to get a loan. You see, they're in a confused state. They don't know what's going on. They don't understand that it's all about rulership. They don't understand that. You see, that's what it's all about. Rulership. And that's what the elites are doing. That's why you had the Pope come over here. Because it's all based off a new world order, man. That's what they're trying to bring forth. A new world order. That's why they never changed the dollar bill. You see what I'm saying? The $1 bill. That's why they never changed it. Because the new world order is written on that dollar bill. Right in your face. But they changed all the other dollars, the Federal Reserve note, but they don't change that $1 bill. Why is that? Because they want that vibration to continually go out. You see? Because it's all about rulership, and it's all about them trying to bring forth a new world order. You see? But what's happening is, Yahweh Shema Shai is raising up Israel. And there you go, to changing the power right there. That's why all this wickedness is coming out on these so-called white people. And they're the devil that the Bible speaks of, and they're a nation of Edomites. That's their biblical nationality. Go ahead.
And it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that which followeth.
And see, that's what you need to know. You need to know these people biblical nationality. Not so-called white. That's a color, and nobody's white on this planet. Caucasian. That's Caucasus Mountain, cave dweller, south of Russia. Man named Johann Blumenbach put that on the so-called white people. That's their biblical nationality. Edomites. They descendants of Esau. Oh, you need to know that, and they red. They're not white. Oh, you need to know that. Those are things that you need to know, and know who your enemy is. Because Esau is the end of the world. Okay? And we are upon it. We in it. Okay? And that's why you had the Pope come over here, because this thing about to blow, man. This thing about to blow. You know? So-called Pope. And he never grabbed no scriptures. All he doing is waving and touching people's hands. And these people in these tribes, the Latin tribe, Hispanic tribe, they suck that shit right up, man.
Putting goddamn curses on people and shit.
Yeah, that's what he doing, putting curses on them, man. Making sure they stay asleep. But Congress in 1989 declared the Bible as public law. But you don't never hear them reading out the scriptures and breaking down prophecy. Because they not men of the Lord. They're the devil that the Bible speaks of. You see?
Yeah.
All they do, go ahead.
I say curses of witchcraft, I mean.
Yeah, curses of witchcraft.
Yeah.
Because that's what they base their philosophy off of. Witchcraft. Which